Lee Massari, the iconic Italian actress whose enigmatic presence defined a generation of European cinema, passed away at the age of 91 on June 23, 2025. At her home in Rome, her career, spanning over 4 decades, left an indelible mark on both Italian and French film, and her performances continue to resonate with audiences and critics alike. Born Anna Maria Massatani on June 30, 1933, in Rome, Massari's early life was shaped by both personal tragedy and cosmopolitan experiences. She spent her childhood across Europe, following her father's engineering assignments to Spain, France, and Switzerland. She studied architecture in Switzerland, but her life took a dramatic turn at age 22 when her fiancé, Leo, died suddenly. In his honor, she adopted the stage name Lee, a tribute that would become synonymous with elegance and depth in European cinema. Massari's film debut came in 1955 with Forbiddens, but it was her role as Anna in Michelangelo Antonioni's La Ventura 1960 that catapulted her to international stardom. Her portrayal of the woman who mysteriously disappears during a Mediterranean boating trip remains one of cinema's most compelling and discussed performances. The film's ambiguous narrative and Massari's haunting absence set a new standard for art house storytelling, with critics and fans alike captivated by her ability to convey vulnerability and mystery. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Massari became a fixture in both Italian and French cinema. She starred in Valerio Zerlini's Indian Summer and Louis Malle's Oscar-nominated Murmur of the Heart, 1971, where she played Clara, the complex mother of a precocious teenager. Her versatility was further showcased in commercial successes like The Things of Life and Sergio Leone's debut The Colossus of Rhodes, 1961, where she brought grace and sophistication even to lesser-known projects. Massari was not only a leading lady, but also a respected collaborator, working alongside cinematic legends such as Alain Delon, Jean-Paul Belmondo, and Omar Sharif. In 1975, she served as a jury member at the Cannes Film Festival, a testament to her standing in the international film community. Her accolades include the Nastro d'Argento for Best Supporting Actress for her role in Francesco Rossi's Christ, Stopped at Eboli, 1979, and a David D. Donatella Award for A Difficult Life, 1961. Despite her fame, Massari valued privacy and retreated from public life after retiring from acting more than 30 years ago, rarely making media appearances and choosing to live quietly in Rome. In her personal life, Massari married Carlo Bianchini, a former Alitalia pilot, in 1963. The couple separated in 2004 and had no children. Friends and fans remember her as a woman of intellect, elegance, and profound sensitivity, a star who brought authenticity and emotional depth to every role she inhabited. Lee Massari's passing is mourned as the end of an era in European cinema. Her legacy endures through her unforgettable performances and the timeless films that continue to inspire new generations of filmmakers and audiences. Bailey Hutchins. Bailey Hutchins, a 26-year-old registered nurse and beloved TikTok personality, passed away on February 7, 2025, after a brave 2-year battle with stage 4 colorectal cancer. Diagnosed in early 2023, Bailey courageously shared her health journey on social media under the handle @HealingWithBailey, where she amassed over 160,000 followers. Through her videos, she raised awareness about the importance of early cancer screenings and inspired countless individuals facing similar challenges. With her honesty, strength, and unwavering faith, Bailey's cancer progressed despite multiple surgeries and chemotherapy, eventually spreading to the lining of her abdominal cavity. Throughout her illness, she remained a beacon of hope, openly discussing the physical and emotional toll of her condition while encouraging others to prioritize their health. Her husband and caregiver, Caden Hutchins, expressed profound grief and admiration in heartfelt social media posts, describing her as a light in any room and praising her courage and spirit. Bailey's passing has left a deep impact on her family, friends, and followers worldwide. Her legacy endures not only in the awareness she raised about colorectal cancer, but also in the inspiration she provided through her resilience and compassion. Caden and her loved ones have vowed to keep her memory alive by continuing to share her story and advocating for early detection and support for cancer patients. Ben Christman. Coroner releases cause of death for former Ohio State lineman Ben Christman. UNLV football transfer. Found dead at 21, cause of death revealed for UNLV football player Ben. UNLV football's Ben Chrisman dead at 21 from heart disease. Ben Chrisman, a promising 21-year-old college football player for the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV, tragically passed away in his sleep on February 11, 2025, just days before his 22nd birthday. The cause of death was later revealed to be cardiac arrhythmia and cardiomyopathy, conditions that affect the heart's rhythm and muscle, respectively. Born and raised in Akron, Ohio, Chrisman began his collegiate football career at Ohio State University before transferring to UNLV in December 2024. As an offensive lineman, he was highly regarded, having been a four-star recruit out of high school and ranked among the top interior offensive linemen nationally. Despite his young age, he had already made a meaningful impact on his teammates and coaches, earning a spot on UNLV's leadership committee shortly after joining the team. In the days leading up to his death, Chrisman had experienced chest pains during football practice and underwent an electrocardiogram (ECG) at UNLV's facilities. Although the initial results appeared normal, the underlying heart conditions went undetected, leading to his sudden passing. His death sent shockwaves through the college football community, with coaches, teammates, and fans mourning the loss of a talented and beloved young athlete. UNLV's athletic director and head coach Dan Mullen expressed their heartbreak and extended condolences to Chrisman's family and friends, emphasizing the positive influence he had during his brief time with the program. Ben Chrisman's passing highlights the critical importance of cardiac health awareness, especially among young athletes who may be at risk for silent but serious heart conditions. His legacy lives on in the memories of those who knew him and the impact he made both on and off the field. Norma Mora. Norma Mora, the iconic Mexican actress from the golden age of Mexican cinema, passed away on February 11, 2025. At the age of 81, she died peacefully at the Casa del Actor, a retirement home for actors in Mexico City, where she had been living since 2002. Norma was surrounded by the love and respect of her fellow residents, staff, and friends during her final moments. Born Norma Helen Garcia Mora, star on April 30, 1943, in Mexico City. She was of diverse heritage, with an Arab father and an Irish mother of Jewish descent. Norma's entry into the entertainment world began when she won a beauty contest sponsored by a prominent Mexican magazine in 1959, which opened doors for her in film and television. Throughout the 1960s, Norma Mora became a celebrated figure in Mexican cinema, known for her striking beauty and versatility. She appeared in popular films alongside legendary stars such as Tintin, Viruta, and Capulina, and El Santo. Some of her notable works include Q Pura Vida, 1963, where she played an antagonist, Los Astronautas, 1964, and Santo en el Museo de Cera, 1963. In addition to acting, she also showcased her talents in singing and dancing, recording a few albums during her career. Norma Mora was regarded as a sex symbol of her era, admired for her charisma and screen presence. Despite facing opposition from her family when she chose to pursue acting, her passion and dedication made her a beloved icon of Mexican cinema's golden era. Her death was publicly mourned by the Casa del Actor IAP Mario Moreno, which expressed deep sorrow over the loss of their cherished member. Norma Mora's legacy endures through her memorable performances and the significant impact she had on Mexican film history.
Richard Greenberg. Richard Greenberg, the celebrated Tony Award-winning playwright, best known for his groundbreaking 2003 play Take Me Out, passed away on July 4, 2025, at the age of 67 after a battle with cancer. His death occurred at a nursing facility in Manhattan and was confirmed by his brother, Edward Greenberg. Greenberg's passing is a profound loss to the theater community, where he was widely admired for his sharp intellect, wit, and the emotional depth of his work. Born on February 22, 1958, in East Meadow, New York. Greenberg graduated magna cum laude from Princeton University with a degree in English before honing his craft at the Yale School of Drama's playwriting program. His career spanned over 3 decades, during which he wrote around 30 plays that were staged both on and off Broadway and in regional theaters. His works often explored complex themes such as family dynamics, identity, love, and social issues. blending humor and poignancy with a sophisticated, upper-class sensibility reminiscent of playwrights like Philip Barry and Newell Coward. Greenberg's most acclaimed work, Take Me Out, centers on a Major League Baseball player who publicly comes out as gay. A bold and timely subject when the play premiered in London in 2002 and shortly thereafter on Broadway. The play earned Greenberg the 2003 Tony Award for Best Play and was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. It also won Tony Awards for actors Dennis O'Hare and Jesse Tyler Ferguson, who portrayed the character Mason Marzak in the original and 2022 revival productions, respectively. The play's exploration of homophobia, masculinity, and team dynamics in the hypermasculine world of professional baseball was both groundbreaking and deeply humanizing. In addition to Take Me Out, Greenberg's notable works include Eastern Standard, his Broadway debut in 1989, 3 Days of Rain, another Pulitzer finalist, The Assembled Parties, and a successful adaptation of August Strindberg's Dance of Death, which featured Ian McKellen and Helen Mirren. Though some of his adaptations, such as Breakfast at Tiffany's in 2013, were less well received, his overall contribution to American theater was marked by intelligence, linguistic richness, and emotional insight. At the time of his death, Greenberg was collaborating with director Robert Falls on a new adaptation of Philip Barry's classic play Holiday. Set to premiere at Chicago's Goodman Theater in early 2026, Falls described Greenberg as one of the smartest people I have met, and praised his kindness, humor, and brilliance, calling his loss profound. Richard Greenberg's legacy is that of a playwright who combined sharp social commentary with elegant language and deeply human characters. His work challenged audiences to confront difficult truths with both laughter and empathy, leaving an indelible mark on contemporary American theater. Sophia Hutchins. Sophia Hutchins, the businesswoman and longtime manager and close friend of Caitlyn Jenner, tragically died in an ATV accident near Malibu, California. On July 2, 2025, she was 29 years old. The fatal crash occurred on a private trail near Jenner's residence when Hutchins, reportedly driving at high speed, lost control of the all-terrain vehicle. She collided with the rear bumper of a Mazda sedan, which caused her ATV to veer off the road and plunge approximately 350 feet down a ravine. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but declared her dead at the scene. Born on April 1, 1996, in Bellevue, Washington, Sophia Hutchins graduated from Pepperdine University in 2019 with a degree in economics and finance. She was also the founder and CEO of Lumisol, a health technology company specializing in sunscreen products. Hutchins was a transgender woman who became a prominent figure in the LGBTQ+ community and a trusted advisor to Caitlyn Jenner, whom she met in 2015 shortly after Jenner publicly came out as transgender. Their close friendship and professional relationship were well known, with Hutchins managing Jenner's public appearances and business ventures for several years. Hutchins also appeared in multiple episodes of the E! reality series I Am Kate, which documented Jenner's life post-transition. The accident has sparked an ongoing police investigation, with authorities focusing on speed as a possible factor contributing to the crash. Investigators are examining tire marks, road conditions, and the circumstances leading up to the collision. The two occupants of the Mazda were unharmed in the incident. Conflicting reports about the exact details of the crash emerged, but the consensus points to Hutchins losing control after clipping the vehicle's rear, resulting in the fatal fall down the cliff. Sophia Hutchins was also known for her political involvement, having served as a surrogate for Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign. Despite tabloid speculation about a possible romantic relationship with Jenner, both women denied such claims, emphasizing their close friendship and mutual support. Her sudden and tragic death has sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the LGBTQ+ community. Caitlyn Jenner was seen publicly coping with the loss shortly after the accident. Hutchins' legacy includes her advocacy for transgender rights, her entrepreneurial ventures, and the deep bond she shared with Jenner.
Roderick David Stewart entered the world on January 10, 1945, in the working-class district of Highgate, North London. As the youngest of 5 spirited children born to Scottish master builder Robert Joseph Stewart and English homemaker Elsie Rebecca Gilbart. Growing up in the shadow of post-war austerity, the future rock icon absorbed the values of resilience and resourcefulness that his parents embodied. His father, a disciplined craftsman who had migrated south from Leith Inn, instilled in the household a do-it-yourself ethic and an abiding love of Scottish football, while his mother nurtured the family with warmth, wit, and sing-song evenings around the wireless dot. The bustling Stewart home at 507 Archway Road echoed with sibling chatter and the raffish energy of older brothers Don, Bob, and Mike, and sister Mary, each of whom carved early paths in sport or commerce that young Rod avidly observed. He attended Highgate Primary School and later William Grimshaw Secondary Modern, where classroom lessons often took a back seat to doodles of model railways and daydreams of the terraces at Hibbary. Although his academic record was undistinguished, he famously failed the 11+. Rod displayed a precocious aptitude for art and woodwork, quietly cultivating the sense of style and flair that would later define his onstage persona. As Britain rebuilt, so did Rod's ambitions. Saturdays found him hawking newspapers outside Highgate Tube to earn pocket money, which he promptly spent on American blues records and second-hand football boots. Encouraged by his father, he tried as an apprentice with Brentford FC, dreaming of a professional career between the goalposts. The lure of the pitch was strong, yet a nagging restlessness nudged him toward the burgeoning London mod scene. Skiffle groups and smoky coffee bars captivated his imagination, and by his mid-teens, he had swapped football drills for harmonica riffs, teaching himself the instrument while absorbing the raw expressiveness of Muddy Waters and Little Richard. These cross-currents of sport, craftsmanship, and music forged a unique outlook. Half streetwise lad, half budding showman, even then classmates recall his raspy laugh, spiky hair, and knack for turning ordinary anecdotes into mesmerizing tales, traits that foreshadowed the rocker whose gravel-toned vocals would soon conquer airwaves worldwide. By 1962, freshly graduated from the Academy of Urban Hustle, Rod embarked on a brief stint as a silk screen printer before embarking on a hitchhiking trek across Europe. Busking with harmonica in hand, from Paris cafes to the cobbled streets of Barcelona. The continental adventure exposed him to folk ballads, gypsy jazz, and a restless spirit of bohemian freedom, crystallizing his conviction that music, not masonry or football, would chart his destiny. Returning to London, electrified and penniless, he plunged headlong into the vibrant R&B circuit, initially as a harmonica, blowing sideman for Jimmy Powell and the Five Dimensions. Within a year, he was fronting his own acts with an untamed vocal grit that belied his slender frame, gaining the nickname Rod the Mod for his immaculate suits and rooster-cut hairstyle. London's clubs, Eelpie Island, Marquee Crawdaddy, became his training grounds, each gig sharpening the persona of rebellious charm and soulful urgency that would soon propel him through the ranks of the Jeff Beck Group and faces toward solo superstardom. Here in the smoky crucible of early 60s Britain, Rod Stewart transmuted a childhood of modest means and sprawling dreams into the raw materials of legend. If Rod Stewart's childhood gave him the grit the late 60s and early 70s minted, that grit into gold chart-topping, stadium-filling scarf twirling gold. His breakthrough came in 1969 when he joined forces with guitar virtuoso Jeff Beck on the blistering albums Truth and Beck Ola, records that fused blues ferocity with psychedelic swagger and showcased Rod's sandpaper tenor front and center. Yet, it was a brief alliance. Hungry for autonomy, he soon jumped 2 faces alongside Ronnie Wood, embracing a ragged, boozy camaraderie that made every gig feel like a party no one wanted to end. Between barroom anthems like Stay With Me and rollicking tours where amplifiers teetered on beer crates, faces cultivated the image of lovable scoundrels, and Rod in velvet trousers and feathered hair became their rakish master of ceremonies. While reeing in the collective roar of faces, he quietly plotted a solo course that would redefine mainstream rock. In 1971, a mandolin-laced ballad titled Maggie May flipped from B-side afterthought to global sensation almost overnight. Its chiming acoustic riff and confessional lyrics about a May-December fling struck a nerve, catapulting the album Every picture tells a story to number one on both sides of the Atlantic and earning Rod his first Ivar Nola Award. More than sell records, it crystallized his brand. A rascal's vulnerability packaged in raspy sincerity capable of melting both jukeboxes and hardened hearts. He doubled down with You Wear It, well, a cinematic sequel in storytelling, swagger, and the tender folk hymn mandolin wind, cementing his reputation as the decade's preeminent romantic tweedor. The mid-70s saw Rod stride into glam-era excess with silk lapels and signature tartan scarves fluttering beneath stadium lights. Atlantic Crossing, 1975, yielded the gospel-soaked power of sailing, which became an unofficial anthem for British troops and civilian dreamers alike. While A Night on the Town, 1976, offered the devilish grin of Tonight's the Night, Goin' to Be. All Right, a seductive slow burner that topped US charts for 8 weeks, always keen to fuse genres. He dipped into soul with the first cut is the deepest and disco fleck pop on DA Think I'm Sexy, a 1978 smash that transformed him from pub rock hero to global sex symbol, complete with leopard print spandex and spinning mirror balls. Critics squabbled over artistic purity, but fans voted with their feet and wallets. The single sold millions, and its parent album Blondes have more fun-packed arenas worldwide. As the 80s dawned, Rod pivoted effortlessly, shedding disco sheen for sleek synthkist rock. Young Turks captured youthful rebellion with an urgent drum, machine thump, while the soulful Baby Jane restored him. To the summit of the UK charts in 1983, he embraced cinematic grandeur on Some Guys Have All the Luck, infused big band bravado into infatuation, and even flirted with power ballad territory on the out-of-order 1988 set, spawning Forever Young, a track whose Scottish pipes and paternal lyrics became a soundtrack to graduations and tearful farewells. He closed the decade triumphantly with Downtown Train, Tom Waits's Grayly Lament recast as a soaring radio-friendly opus that garnered Grammy nominations and multi-platinum sales. Rather than coast on nostalgia, the 9 South found Rod reinventing himself yet again through the Unplugged and Seated special, where an acoustic reunion with Ronnie Wood birthed a hit version of Tim Hardin's Reason to Believe and reaffirmed his mastery of intimate storytelling. He surprised skeptics by conquering the American Songbook in the 2000s. The Great American Songbook series sold over 17 million copies, earning him new audiences and duets with the likes of Cher and Elton John. Even critics warmed to the elegant Coonar reinvention when they witnessed sold-out Vegas residencies and orchestral tours where Have You Ever Seen the Rain? Nestled comfortably beside Cole Porter classics through every stylistic detour. Rock, folk, soul, disco, new wave, standards, his unmistakable rasp remained the thruwing, an audio fingerprint that could elevate a nursery rhyme into commercial milestones tell only half the tale. Behind them lie countless sweaty nights honing phrasing in tiny clubs, endless studio hours perfecting slide guitar hooks with longtime producer Tom Dow, and the intuitive knack for curating players who amplify, not overshadow his presence. Whether bolstered by Carmine Appis's thunderous drums or David Foster's lush keys, Rod's recordings carried an emotional directness that fans felt viscerally. At the core of every hit, be it the defiant stomp of Hot Legs or the Celtic-tinged uplift of Rhythm of My Heart, is a storyteller who finds poetry in the commonplace and immortality in a 3-minute pop single from the scruffy stages of Soho Cellars. To headlining Glastonbury and packing LA's Hollywood Bowl, Rod Stewart's catalog of hits mapped a 5-decade journey through the evolving soundscape of popular music, yet somehow remained quintessentially his chart statistics: over 250 million records sold, 10 US, no, he won albums. Countless gold and platinum discs merely quantify a chemistry that can't be replicated. That playful wink in his vocal phrasing, the conversational warmth between verses, the way a sly smile can bloom into a stadium-wide sing-along. Few artists so deftly bridged pub folklore and pop ubiquity. Fewer still did it while keeping tartan scarves in vogue. Rod Stewart's showman persona, forever kicking soccer balls into cheering crowds and bounding across catwalks, often masked a body that over the decades absorbed the punishing toll of constant touring, late-night revelry, and the ordinary attrition of time. The first public reminder that he was mortal came in 1986, when nodules on his vocal cords forced him to cancel shows and undergo delicate laser surgery for a man whose livelihood depended on that signature rasp. The prospect of silence was chilling. He spent months in near monastic quiet, communicating with family through notepads, while relearning optimal breathing techniques. The anxious hiatus paid off. His voice returned richer, the mnemonic phrasing sharpened by newfound respect for technique and rest. He emerged thankful and disciplined, adopting vocal warm-ups and steaming regimes that have remained ritual ever since. Still, the health ledger kept accruing entries. The rigors of stadium tours aggravated his knees, culminating in arthroscopic surgery in 1995 and a full knee replacement 2 decades later. He joked to journalists about having more metal than a Fender Strat, but privately embraced physiotherapy, Pilates, and a modified football routine that limited tackles to charity matches. In May 2000, a routine scan appended his world thyroid cancer. Although papillary in nature and highly treatable, the diagnosis struck at the core of his identity. Surgeons removed the malignant nodule in a marathon 3-hour operation that spared his vocal cords, but left him unable to sing for months. During recovery, he penned Rod the autobiography, channeling fear into reflection, and later organized a night of 1,000 voices at the Royal Albert Hall, raising money for cancer research, a philanthropic thread that would weave through subsequent tours. The cancer scare reshaped his habits. He, Trimadelcal, swapped frops for fish and greens, and took up cycling around the Essex countryside with wife Penny Lancaster. Yet the pages of his medical chart kept turning. In 2007, he suffered a bout of viral meningitis that landed him briefly in intensive care. Symptoms, headache, neck stiffness, phototophobia subsided after aggressive treatment, but not before reinforcing his resolve to pace studio hours and delegate logistical hassles to managers. Then, in 2016, the singer disclosed that he had beat prostate cancer following early detection during a routine check. He turned advocate, urging men over 50 to embrace PSA screenings and openly discussing the emotional toll of treatment. Each interview carried a spark of mischief. If you love your mom, get checked. Tempering seriousness with trademark cheek, were common to veteran performers, produced a string of lesser ailments. Achilles tendonitis from years in Cuban heels, a herniated disc that temporarily sidelined his beloved model railroad hobby, and recurring ankle pain that required corrective surgery in 2021. Yet he seldom let discomfort cancel engagements, preferring to tailor choreography, swapping knee slides from microphone stand, twirls rather than disappoint an audience. The pandemic hiatus proved a silver lining. Forced off the road, he embarked on a disciplined regimen of chess, online Pilates, and meditation apps recommended by his children. Arriving in 2022, fitter than he'd felt in years. Psychological health, too, entered the discourse. Rod has spoken candidly about bouts of depression following both cancer diagnosis and the 2012 death of his brother Don. Instead of internalizing grief, he sought therapy, crediting it with teaching him the value of a good cry and an honest chat. Humble admissions from a septuagenarian rock star encouraged fans to destigmatize mental health conversations. A resonance echoed in fan mail proclaiming, "If Rod can talk about it, so can I." In recent years, he's partnered with mental health charities, performing unplugged sets at fundraising galas, and auctioning memorabilia to support counseling hotlines. Through each trial, scalpel scars, radiation fatigue, physiotherapy mornings, the through-in remains resilience, a recognition that survival is as much about adaptation as luck. Today, his medical routine is as regimented as a tour rider. Quarterly checkups, plant-forward diet, vocal rest days, and a morning plunge into an ice bath installed behind his Essex. Manor Dot asked if he misses the reckless invincibility of youth. He flashes that roguish grin and replies, "I can still kick a ball past most lads. I just ice the knee afterward." The health battles, once private hurdles, have become integral chapters. In his public narrative, proof that beneath the tartan and glitter beats a heart acquainted with vulnerability, yet defiant in melody. The arc of Rod Stewart's life, colored by platinum plaques and sold-out tours, is also traced with quiet farewells that reshaped his sense of home and heritage. The first seismic loss struck in 1990 when his father, Robert, the scaffolding of Rod's work ethic and love of football, succumbed to cancer. Rod carried the coffin himself, later admitting that every rendition of Sailing became a whispered conversation with the man who once taped newspaper clippings of his son's early gigs to the fridge. 6 years later, his mother, Elsie, passed, leaving an emptiness, only partly soothed by the lullaby melodies she once hummed. Grief returned in a crushing double wave. During 2022, when elder brothers Don and Bob, lifelong companions who guarded him from childhood bullies and attended nearly every London show, died within 2 months of each other. At the funeral, Rod set aside rock star bravado, reading a eulogy that framed brotherhood as the first band you ever join. The clan gatherings at his Essex estate now hold 2 empty chairs, reminders that even chart toppers cannot encore the departed. Losses extended beyond bloodlines into the brotherhood of musicianship. Ronnie Lane faces Mary Prankster, died in 1997 after a prolonged battle with multiple sclerosis. Jeff Beck, the virtuoso who first hoisted Rod onto an international stage, passed in 2023. Each death closed a chapter of shared greenroom laughter and late night arrangements scribbled on beer-stained napkins. Rod honored them as only a Tweedor can by singing a stripped-down ooh la 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 for Ronnie at a benefit gig. A searing people get ready for Jeff at London's Royal Albert Hall. The stage lights dimmed, but the repertoire kept their spirits amplifying through every riff. He has also mourned industry. Comrades like saxophagist Raphael Ravenscroft and producer Tom Dow, men whose fingerprints linger in the grooves of his most iconic tracks. With each farewell, Rod folds another tartan scarf, another silver LP, into his private shrine of gratitude, understanding that legacy is the sum of communal echoes. Personal heartbreak carved subtler scars. In 1963, he fathered a daughter, Sarah Stvira, at age 18. Pressures of poverty and youth led the couple to place her for adoption, a decision that haunted him through years of limousines and limelight. Their eventual reunion decades later was joyful, yet tinged with the ache of lost birthdays, a vivid testament that success cannot rewind time, romantic endings, to tallied emotional costs. The turbulent split from actress Britt Ekland, the divorce from first wife Alana Hamilton, and the painful separation from supermodel Rachel Hunter in 1999, which left him hollow as an unplugged amp, he confessed. Yet each fracture fueled reflective songwriting. Listen closely to I Was Only Joking or Rhythm of My Heart, and the echo of those losses resounds beneath the melody, through merriment and breakup alike. Rod found catharsis not in silence but in the roar of shared chorus, converting private sorrow into communal release. Rod Stewart greets his 8th decade, not as a relic, but as a restless artisan forever tuning the next chord. Dawn typically breaks at Durrington House, his 47-acre Essex estate, where the morning ritual begins with an icy plunge, followed by a brisk loop on his vintage racing bike that snakes past manicured topiaries, and inevitably the sprawling model railway shed that friends jokingly call Platform Rod, their meticulously weathered locomotives and hoe-scale Scottish villages. He finds meditative focus before shifting to the rehearsal studio tucked behind the main house. Since 2021's critically praised The Tears of Hercules, he has dived into fresh sessions with producer Kevin Savager, crafting originals that weave Celtic fiddle, Memphis horns, and autobiographical lyrics into a cohesive new statement rumored for late 2025 release in February 2024. He surprised skeptics again with Swing Fever, a rollicking big band collaboration with Jules Holland that soared to number 4. He won on the UK Albums Chart and reignited his fling with jazz standards, prompting BBC critics to dub him Sinatra with a Glasgow grin. Showmanship remains his oxygen. The Vegas residency, Rod Stewart, the hits completed its 11th year at Caesars Palace with a string of sold-out weekends and a 36-day global run, dubbed the One More Time Tour, brought him back to stadiums from Sao Paulo to Sydney, each night anchored by evergreen salongs Maggie May, Do You Think I'm Suxy, and Sailing. Yet he balances bombast with philanthropy. Proceeds from select 2024 stadium shows funneled to the Teenage Cancer Trust, while a December charity gala at London's Grosvenor House raised over $3 million for prostate cancer research, underscoring his mission to turn survival stories into community action. Offstage, the father of 8 stays finely attuned to family rhythms, cheering eldest son Sean's art exhibitions, FaceTiming daughter Ruby on tour days, and coaching his youngest boy's Sunday league football matches, wearing a Celtic FC scarf knotted over a designer tracksuit. Wife Penny Lancaster, now an honorary police officer, often joins him on wellness retreats, and their joint Instagram posts of beach cleanups or terrace gardening exude a domestic warmth that counters his former Playboy MYTHOS in media. Rod's gravel-sparked commentary remains in demand. He hosts occasional BBC Radio 2 specials, spinning Forgotten Soul B-sides, guest mentors contestants on The Voice UK, and recently executive produced the MGM Plus docuseries, Rod and Ronnie Faces Reunited, chronicling archival escapades with Ronnie Wood. Rumors swirl of a biographical West End musical working titled Tonight's the Night, set to premiere in 2026, with Rod providing narrative voiceovers between scenes. Meanwhile, he nurtures personal passions, auctioning football memorabilia for children's hospices, championing Scottish independence debates with measured zeal, and funding music scholarships at the Royal Academy of Arts. Asked by a Rolling Stone interviewer how he sustains momentum at 80, he flashed that time-tempered rogue's grin. Keep writing, keep loving, keep kicking a ball. Everything else is just an encore. Thus, Rod Stewart in 2025 stands as living proof that longevity need not dim creative fire. Instead, it can fan it into a beacon for generations who find in every rasped chorus permission to grow older without ever growing old.